You're listening to the Inquiri.us podcast, discussing philosophy, economics, politics, religion, and more. Visit us at medium.com/@Inquiri.us-blog.
Welcome to the Inquiri.us podcast. We have a really special episode for you today. I'm your host, Maximilian Sejo. I'm here with my co-host, Justin Bailey.
How's it going, everybody?
The GOP primary debate.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't big. It was a small thing. You may have missed it. You
know, in fact, you probably missed it because you probably don't have a TV.
True. You're listening to podcasts all the time.
But more people watched this debate than any other cable news event in the history of the United States.
Yeah. Not just Fox News.
No.
Every cable news network.
All of them.
Ever. That's big. Secondarily, it also defeated ratings for Game 7 of the World Series last year.
I mean, baseball.
Yes. There's an argument that baseball just kind of sucks, and that's why.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of baseball lovers out there, and there weren't enough of them.
There clearly was not.
There just was not enough of them.
So there's a reason, and it's because of a rather large elephant, you might say, that was in that room. Former Apprentice star, billionaire,
yeah,
the Donald.
I didn't know you were talking about him. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Mike Huckabee.
Oh yes, he's rather large too.
Yeah, he does. Depending on the day, he gets larger and smaller.
It's true.
I guess. Yeah, Donald Trump. I mean, just Donald Trump. It happened. I mean, I was watching The Apprentice with my grandparents mere months ago, and now I'm flipping on the most watched cable news event in the history of the world, and it features Donald Trump
center stage,
flanked by Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio.
Not flanked by Marco Rubio.
Oh, that's right.
Jeb
was
Bush,
on his other side.
I think it was Scott. No, it wasn't Scott Walker.
It was either Scott Walker or Marco Rubio. It was one of those two, I thought.
It might be Marco Rubio, though.
He was to his right. I know he was to his right.
It's possible.
Here, let me just lower that. Flanked by career politicians.
Governors,
flanked by
senators.
Yes.
Like 20-year careers, prestigious
people
running
who've been doing this. They've been doing this stuff for a while.
They've been doing that thing.
Yeah, Donald Trump. What was amazing, too, is... I mean, what'd you think of Fox's questions?
Fox brought game.
She spat game. Megyn Kelly spat game. That's all I can say.
She was on fire.
She was on fire. So much so that it was claimed by the Trump himself.
Yeah, there's only him. There's nobody else.
There's only him. That it was because potentially had something to do with her period.
Yeah, you know.
He doesn't hold any punch. Like, polls 0.
No.
He will talk about a woman on PMS to get an edge if he doesn't like you. He'll go anywhere.
He will go anywhere. And you know what? I think that's why people like him.
Yeah. And that, I think, is why with the first clip we're going to play from this debate had to happen. And Fox, they took up the battalion, man. They took up the battalion and did not wait and didn't throw softball questions for 10 minutes and then throw a 1. They dished it out heavy with question 1.
Brought it.
Experts say an independent run would almost certainly hand the race over to Democrats and likely another Clinton. You can't say tonight that you can make that pledge.
I cannot say. I have to respect the person that if it's not me, the person that wins. If I do win and I'm leading by quite a bit, that's what I want to do. I can totally make that pledge. If I'm the nominee, I will pledge I will not run as an independent. But and I am discussing it with everybody, but I'm talking about a lot of leverage. We want to win, and we will win. But I want to win as the Republican. I want to run as the Republican nominee.
Holy crap.
I mean, it's so good. It's just gold. So, yeah, he can't say no. The man can't say no. What do you think? Do you think that's a chance?
That he runs as an independent?
Oh, yeah. I mean, barring he loses his massive lead in the polls.
Yeah. No one in the political pundit class, which, everybody tries to be, knows a goddamn thing about what's going to happen.
No, they really don't.
So I can say, yeah, he's going to run as independent. I could say he's going to endorse Hillary Clinton. I could say he's going to win. All things equally likely.
Yeah. Yes. The probabilities are really squared right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to take in what this means for Hillary Clinton. Okay, what's the name of Hillary Clinton's strategist? The guy who's running her campaign. What is his name? Do you remember?
Ray Cox or something?
Oh, it's something ridiculous.
Know his name.
If you're him, what are you doing to try to make this happen? I mean, if this happens, you're in. I mean, barring a Bernie. We can talk about that another day.
That's for another day.
That's for another day. Barring a Bernie, Hillary Clinton wins if Trump runs.
I think if you're Hillary Clinton, you sit down in a chair and shut your mouth and just, with some popcorn there, kettle cooked, you know, the real stuff, you just watch and you just smile.
And you keep sending private emails off.
Whatever kind of smile that she can do.
Right.
Because this is gold for the Democratic Party.
You know what was funny? I noticed this came out and people were talking about it, that they were going, it's interesting that Hillary Clinton needed to release a couple of ads. She released a couple of ads that were, you know, really well done, nicely pressed ads. And it was, the point was, she's releasing ads because of Donald Trump. Like, she needs to make sure that she's solidifying her presence in this.
It's a pure name recognition thing, I think.
Yeah, it's just weird to me.
Like, you have to be talked, like, and that's not for the national press. That's for, like, Iowa and New Hampshire.
Sure.
Because all they're hearing is just Trump-mentum.
Yes.
She's just like, oh, yeah, right. Like, I'm a really accomplished politician. Like, I like you. I care about you.
Right.
And that's it. Like, just here, like, oh, by the way, I'm here.
Yeah. And I make really nice, graphically well-produced ads.
Well,
I'm sorry, I do that for a living. I noticed
they got to do something with the money. I mean, come on.
She does have a lot of money.
She does.
Trump made his way into this game by talking about what policy?
I mean, policy? That's kind of a stretch. He talked about immigration on the southern border with Mexico.
I mean, that was...
Loosely.
Right. He says, I believe in the debate and other times, says that nobody would be even talking about immigration if it wasn't for him. It would be a subject that would be off the radar.
Yeah, he's wrong, but that's fine.
But this is what he thinks.
Yes.
He believes it, and he has definitely made the conversation louder. He's done that.
If loudness is the barometer for political success, and he's the champion, he's the global dictator.
And he's also made it a bit more entertaining, which will be clear. Which will be clear after we listen to this.
We need to build a wall, and it has to be built quickly. And I don't mind having a big, beautiful door in that wall so that people can come into this country legally. But we need, Jeb, to build a wall. We need to keep illegals out.
So picture Game of Thrones. So I don't know how many of you have seen Game of Thrones or are avid watchers like myself. The Northern Wall, huge, icy hellscape of a wall that towers 1,000 feet in the air. I don't know. It looks really tall. Probably not, but it sounds you get
good.
the point.
That sounds good.
There's a little kind of gate that rolls up on the other side so that you can go from one side to the other. It's heavily defended.
Right.
Now picture Donald Trump standing on the other side of that wall, picking out.
Standing on the side where you want to go.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, just making sure.
The most beautiful doors that you could ever imagine. Gold encrusted.
With a big T on it,
large.
I assume.
Oh, I mean, he'll license he's got to license it. He'll probably make money off it somehow.
Flying in on Air Force Trump.
Air Force Trump. Just gold encrusted door. Just slapped right into the side of it.
Yeah.
I mean...
Immigration solved. I mean, just the beauty of the door...
Man.
Would make anybody who even conceived of coming here illegally...
All the rapists.
Which are being sent over.
Yes, by the Mexican government.
They would... The whole government would just go, did you see that door?
That f***ing door.
Yeah. He makes a lot of sense, don't you think?
You mean dollars and cents?
Oh, phew, that is smooth. So who's next on our docket?
All right, so debate docket. Out of the 17 Republican candidates, they really are having problems finding people that want the job.
Yeah. I actually personally know somebody who wants to, another story for another time.
Yeah,
but
sure.
yeah, that's how many people want to run. I know somebody who wants to run. That's how many people want to run.
So the undercard debate, the kids' table, the happy hour debate, whatever you want to call it, was earlier in the day set to a completely absent audience.
Quicken Loans Arena, mind you, where
Yes.
LeBron does his thing.
Just slams on people.
That's the scale of a room that was empty.
Yeah. I mean, it must have felt good for these politicians.
They did say family and friends could come.
Man, well, they're charitable.
Yeah. Yeah. Family and friends, Quicken Loans Arena seats about 20,000, I'm sure, 21,000, somewhere in that.
I don't know.
So it was probably seating a couple hundred people for a nationally televised
It's a great
debate at
ego
5 p.m.
booster for politicians.
Yeah. So there was a big winner there.
There was. We really don't need to talk about anyone else besides Lindsey Graham crying to himself.
He was. I felt bad.
Lindsey Graham.
He's a sweet guy.
I
mean he wants to go to war
except
with
for,
everybody.
yeah.
But he's
So Carly Fiorina, who had what, everybody said was a great performance. And, we can give you a sense of her performance. After the debate, she got into it with good old Chris Matthews.
Yeah. And this clip basically was one of if you're a conservative individual, you saw this clip, and Chris Matthews is one of those people that just irks you.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
So when you saw her do what she's about to do to Chris Matthews, that was like the icing on the cake of what she did on the debate. So here it is.
I want to have a conversation about the real issues. And by any standard common sense measure, Hillary Clinton has lied about Benghazi and about her emails and about her server.
How do you debate someone if it comes to that? You would have 3 national debates with someone you've once again just this moment called a liar. Do you just begin a debate with, I don't believe a word you say, you're a dishonest person? It seems to me, having worked in Washington all these years, you say it's just not common sense, but you really think that's a way to engage in a debate, to call your opponent a liar? I'm astounded by that judgment of yours.
Well, first of all, I was very specific about the subjects about which I think she has lied. I didn't say she lied about everything. I was very specific, very fact-based, actually. You are the one who's made a generalized comment now about her, not me.
Well, once you call a person, once you say a person,
excuse me,
well, okay, go through your list.
Secondly, I will debate her.
Go through your list.
I will debate her on the
your
facts
list of where she's
and
lied.
the issue. Benghazi, emails, and server. I will debate her on the issues facing this nation. I will debate her on her positions. I will ask her, for example, how she can possibly continue to defend Planned Parenthood. I will ask her why she continues to say she's a champion of the middle class while every single proposal she has put forward makes crony capitalism worse and worse and worse, which makes income inequality worse. I would ask her why she declared victory in Iraq in 2011, why she called Bashar al-Assad a positive reformer, why she thought she could stop Putin's ambition, a man I have met, with a gimmicky red reset button. I'll ask her why she got every single foreign policy issue wrong as Secretary of State. That's how I'll debate her on the issues.
I don't care where you sit. She just rolled him over and destroyed him rhetorically. It was absolutely so. If you were questioning your and you are conservative, she just totally she won you over. She won you over so much that what was her jump?
Her jump in the polls as of August 9th, the time of this recording, with a new poll from NBC SurveyMonkey.
Right.
She jumped 6 points in the polls.
6 points.
From 2% to 8%.
Right. Somebody whose name most voters probably hadn't even heard of yet.
Yeah. Carly who?
Yeah, Carly who. She went from that to having more percentage points than, if I'm not mistaken,
than Jeb Bush and Scott Walker.
Who were major, leading contenders for a long time before this debate.
Yeah.
That's how well she did, and that's how potent laying into Chris Matthews can be sometimes.
Man, Chris Matthews.
She did it. She did that right there.
Yeah,
and I don't know if I'm a
rant.
Carly Fiorina supporter by any stretch of the imagination, but I know that she won that battle.
She won that battle. And the undercard debate, nobody had any chance.
Yeah.
There was no chance.
Yeah.
I mean, Rick Perry was bumbling all over himself as Carly Fiorina was being articulate, competent, and just assertive.
Yeah. Rick Perry, the Clark Kent of the Republican Party, as I like to call him.
Just without the superpowers.
Yeah, exactly. He's like Clint Eastwood and Superman, Clark Kent, like merged into one, trying to reestablish himself as viable as a national candidate.
And under indictment, we should say.
And it's just enjoyable to watch him wreck each time he speaks. This time, he was speaking with such passion, and it was like, you can tell he's in the room, like a back room before they go, and they're like, I've got to really bring it tonight, guys. Yeah. I've got to bring it. I'm going to bring it.
Go.
Give me the glasses. Somebody get me the glasses. You know, it's like he gets the glasses on, he walks out there, and he's like, boom, boom, boom. But to us watching it, he looks ridiculous.
He's pretty ridiculous.
He's trying like so hard. There's one person on that stage that I would like to switch out with and if I'm not remembering others, there's at least one person on that stage I'd love to switch out with the main card. I'd like to switch out Rick Santorum with Mike Huckabee. I feel like he's at least, I want him in that conversation with the main line, you know, the main card. I want him there. Huckabee, I'm sorry, Huckabee.
Well, national voters don't agree with
you. They totally don't agree with me.
Rick Santorum is polling at 0 after the debate. And Huckabee...
Rick Santorum, a man who won multiple primaries.
13 states.
He won like 13 states in the 2012 election. Yeah. So pretty crazy. Anyway, Carly Fiorina.
Wow.
I mean,
yeah,
she's
up
the
there
story.
now.
Now we're getting into the main card.
Yeah, so we're going to start
what do we have
with
going on?
A delicious back and forth between Rand Paul and Chris Christie. Because if there's anything delicious, Chris Christie is involved.
It's true.
I want to collect more records from terrorists, but less records from innocent Americans. The Fourth Amendment was what we fought the revolution over. John Adams said it was the spark that led to our war for independence. And I'm proud of standing for the Bill of Rights, and I will continue to stand for the Bill of Rights.
And Megan, that's a completely ridiculous answer. I want to collect more records from terrorists, but less records from other people. How are you supposed to know, Megan?
Use the Fourth Amendment.
How are you supposed
Use
to?
The Fourth
no, I'll
Amendment.
tell you how you
get a warrant.
Let me tell you something.
Get a judge to sign a warrant.
Senator.
Go ahead, wait, Governor Christie, make your point.
Listen, Senator. When you're sitting in a subcommittee just blowing hot air about this, you can say things like that. When you're responsible for protecting the lives of the American people, then what you need to do is to make sure that you use the system the way it's supposed to work.
Here's the problem, Governor. You fundamentally misunderstand the Bill of Rights. Every time you did a case, you got a warrant from a judge. I'm talking about searches without warrants, indiscriminately of all Americans' records, and that's what I fought to end. I don't trust President Obama with our records. I know you gave him a big hug, and if you want to give him a big hug again, go right ahead.
Go ahead, Governor.
And Senator Paul, the hugs that I remember are the hugs that I gave to the families who lost their people on September 11th. Those are the hugs I remember, and those had nothing to do with politics, unlike what you're doing by cutting speeches on the floor of the Senate, then putting them on the internet within a half an hour to raise money for your campaign, and while still putting our country at risk.
All right, we're going to cut it off there.
Done. I feel like Rand Paul took a dose of Rick Perry passion and legitimized it a bit.
Yeah.
And threw it all at Chris Christie.
Yeah.
Right there.
He threw the Bill of Rights at him.
He threw it passionately.
And
Christie, I mean, who do you think got the better of that exchange?
Oh, that depends on what you believe.
Right.
Every person who thinks that Rand Paul is right.
Pure retort. I mean, they're both kind of passionately yelling at each other. Who gets like the takeaway, the immediate takeaway win?
I think the point from Rand Paul about Obama holding the records and that he doesn't trust him, but then Christie embracing Obama both literally and metaphorically.
Right.
Because the point afterwards where Christie talks about the hugs of the 9/11 victims, while that is sentimentally powerful,
it's a zing.
Rhetorically, it has nothing to do with, in a sense,
and
the issue of storage of data.
And it made it as if, which would be completely ridiculous to think, that Rand Paul wouldn't do the same in the same scenario.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I would say definitely on the merits, Rand Paul landed a win on that one. It didn't necessarily show too much in the polls.
Well, I mean, they both
that was his strongest moment. He had a moment earlier in the debate where he challenged Trump, on taking
and that was
campaign
kind of light.
It felt like he was trying to get in when he almost shouldn't have.
Yeah. Now, the polls wise, I mean, they both lost out in the debate.
Right.
Rand Paul lost a point from 6-5, and Christie lost 2 points from 3-1. So if you want to compare their poll numbers, disregarding all the other variables, just this, which was the most seen kind of event for Rand Paul and Chris Christie.
Nobody cares.
Well, nobody cares, but Rand Paul solidified his support in a way, and Christie lost.
You got to stand with
a majority
Rand.
of his.
You got to stand with Rand.
I mean, you could also sit with him, and it would work too.
I follow his campaign on Twitter, and they try so hard to make things. I mean, it is just you almost feel bad for him how hard they're trying to get traction to that campaign.
Yeah.
I mean, they had things where it was saying they wanted people to sketch out Rand arguing with Christie, making a point, and send it so that we'll repost on Instagram.
Oh my God!
And then, yes, that happened. And they kept putting on the Twitter feed. They kept putting like Rand totally won that debate.
I mean,
and then you'd click in to see the responses.
Yeah.
And everybody's going, "Which debate did anybody like? What are you guys watching?" He was at most a mediocre character, a mild character in the play that was the first GOP primary debate. Poor Rand, but it was an interesting.
It was definitely an interesting moment, policy-wise. It was actually important policy.
It definitely was the most, as far as interlocutors go, the most heated part,
and the starkest difference between two candidates.
Yeah, so which was good, and that's what a debate.
That is what you want from a debate,
right? I mean,
absolutely.
I wish instead of the entertainment of the Trump door, we could be entertained by two individuals who have deeply, held beliefs about what the right decision is when it comes to policy.
Yeah.
And I read that article. I read an article. I can't remember where it was, New York Times or Washington Post, asking the question: does Trump make it clear that we are in the first post-policy election, like where it really truly is beyond the policies? Because Trump will just get off and spew kind of the same thing over and over again, like a broken record. But his poll numbers don't tick down, even if he's shot at with difficult questions. They slowly keep ticking up and maintaining themselves in the midst of him ripping into people like Megyn Kelly, ripping into
John McCain,
ripping into Obama. But everybody kind of seems to like that in the GOP.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me that moment there, it was entertaining. It was entertaining for the right reasons.
Absolutely.
It was
absolutely.
It was the kind of political entertainment that I would so love to consume.
You can have zingers, but as long as they're policy zingers. Right. I'm going to start a new thing called Policy Zingers.
Yeah.
A new Twitter handle where you just tweet Policy Zingers.
Right.
That is actually informative.
Yeah, it's informative, and it gives you kind of the rhetorical beauty that someone may have in communicating their point, and the coherence that they may have communicating their point. But yeah, it gives the listener something to take away instead of ha 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 Trump door funny, ha 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 Trump independent run funny, ha ha ha. Like going, I want something to chew on.
So speaking of incoherence, we're moving on now to Ted Cruz, who goes off. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Who goes off on ISIS.
When I asked General Dempsey, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, what would be required militarily to destroy ISIS, he said there is no military solution. We need to change the conditions on the ground so that young men are not in poverty and susceptible to radicalization. That, with all due respect, is nonsense. It's the same answer the State Department gave, that we need to give them jobs. What we need is a commander-in-chief who makes clear, if you join ISIS, if you wage jihad on America, then you are signing your death warrant.
So, Ted Cruz, wow. I mean, he's come a long way.
Ted Cruz, he graduated from Princeton?
Harvard
Law.
Harvard Law. National debate champion.
Right, national debate champion.
One of the foremost.
This guy is not stupid.
No.
He can't be.
No, he was a stellar lawyer who argued in appellate courts and on the Supreme Court to the, to the applauding justices. Mm-hmm. Like, this is a guy that has come from, like, using logic to make his points to saying, I asked the foremost national expert in military matters what he thinks, and he is wrong, and not even like asking him and then saying he's wrong, and they're like, oh, okay, I'm not going to use that.
I understand what he's saying, but no, he's completely he's insane.
He's taking
like that's a horrible concept. That's a horrible concept that things need to change on the ground there, as far as education goes, as far as that's basically how he said it.
He's crazy.
He's crazy. That's what he said. That what the answer is that if you declare yourself as in jihad with America,
you must die.
You will die. Fine, whatever.
All right, Hitler. I mean,
but you're gonna at the point where you're saying somebody's coming at you and you're gonna defend yourself. You can't admit the fact too that there may be some other things that could be done. I mean, those things are not only not the right thing to do, they are basically incoherent. They're so wrongheaded. What is he?
I'll tell you what he's thinking. He's thinking.
Tell me what he's thinking.
That a couple days after the debate, when the first poll comes out, he's going to jump 7 points.
He's that smart.
From 6 points to 13%.
He's that smart, and I'm stupid for thinking that he's not actually thinking about every single word that he's and every phrase. I mean, the whole thing with you know what I'm not afraid to say? Radical Islamic terrorist.
Boom.
The Frank Luntz focus group. I watched that after the debate. It spiked. The approval spiked when he said that. I have
a great kind of anecdote about this. I was watching Bill Maher this past week after the debate, and Steve Schmidt, who was former McCain advisor, former Schwarzenegger advisor, now MSNBC analyst, Republican advisor. You might think that. He disagreed with basically everything Ted Cruz had to say.
Right.
And Bill Maher is like, Steve, why on earth are you a Republican? Because they agree with him. And I mean, the polls, they speak. He had the single highest percentage gain in Republican primary voters out of any other person in both debates.
Right. Even beating Carly Fiorina.
Even beating the magnificent Fiorina.
Right. Who went from unknown to national stage.
Yeah.
That jump couldn't beat Cruz because he very intelligently calculates a couple of political lines that he knows. Maybe he believes. I mean, I'm not going to say he doesn't believe some of these things, but he certainly knows. He certainly knows what he's doing. And
I guess he knows more than we do.
To think when he sits there, and because it would be absurd to think that when he is challenging an expert on the issues on the ground,
the Joint Chiefs of Staff, hardly a political thing,
right? To the level that he's questioning, in the sense of saying, it would be totally legitimate to me if, like we said, he challenges him and saying, though he may be right in many facets of his points, I think that he's missing focus. His focus is off. That's what somebody who wasn't trying to score massive political gains in this debate would say. But Cruz is smart. That Harvard man is smart, and he is conniving, and this will become, the context of this will be shaped very soon when I keep making these noises, I promise. But that's exactly what he did, and you'll find out what that means, but he did that.
He did
that thing right there.
Okay, so transitioning from that guitar riff to a teddy bear, we're going to Ben Carson.
Dude.
So we're going to play 2 clips for you. One is kind of more of a serious clip where he talks about foreign policy and the military. And the other is
unfortunately, he's such a rookie with some of these issues. I mean, he's learning on the fly.
He is.
What to think about some of these things. And you could hear it in this explanation. You could hear
but it kind of comes full circle because his final moment in the debate was his best.
Right.
Which was this
him
joke.
Being him.
It was just him being him. And it came off really well.
Yeah, it came off very genuine. And it's something that gained him points.
Yeah, so here it is.
Well, I haven't said anything about me being the only one to do anything, so let me try that. I'm the only one to separate Siamese twins. The only one to operate on babies while they were still in the mother's womb. The only one to take out half of a brain, although you would think if you go to Washington that someone had beat me to it. But I'm very hopeful that I'm not the only one who's willing to pick up the baton of freedom, because freedom is not free, and we must fight for it every day. Every one of us must fight for it because we're fighting for our children and the next generation.
I mean, really? I mean, that's all you can say to that.
The guy, you could tell he's so kind of sure where he sits philosophically.
Yeah.
That when he goes off on that tangent, he can go, and you could, at the end, you could go like, I get you, Ben Carson. And then when it comes to particular policies as to what's happening, why it's happening, what he would do, how he would address these sorts of issues, you know, you kind of go like, no.
Shore up the military.
Yeah,
okay.
I guess that's a good answer, Ben. You know, but yeah, he's a likable guy.
He's likable,
and I think he did. I mean, what did the poll numbers say for him?
So that showed he started before the debate at 8 points, and after he's gained 3 to 11. So that puts him up there ahead
Probably
of Carly Fiorina,
mainly due to that little joke.
Yeah,
you know,
3rd place out of 17.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's
right there.
He did what he needed to do.
He did exactly what he needed to do.
So now we're going to go to the quote-unquote losers of the debate. So Huckabee, there we go. Yeah. We said Huckabee.
Loser.
I mean, apologies to any Huckabee fans.
He's fine. He's the Rick Santorum of this group. And
except not young.
Except not young, a little bit heavier, and his view of the military is slightly less sophisticated.
I can quote something for you directly.
Right, here we go.
So the purpose of the military is to, and I quote, kill people and break things.
Yes. In the simplest of simpleton terms, there's what things that are in the military do.
Yeah, I mean...
That's what it's for. That's what it's for.
Yeah.
That's why you have a military.
Okay, enough on Huckabee. So now we're going to talk about the real losers.
He's got a show waiting for him, though, at Fox. Like, he's got to have that show back.
I'm sure he does.
The band's getting back together.
Okay, so excuse the guitar riff. So now
There's
Walker.
No excuses necessary. Trust me.
Walker, the quote-unquote stalwart Republican fighter, the killer of unions, the fighter of the GOP, showed up and was meh. So we'll demonstrate. Here's a clip from him talking about Iran and foreign policy.
Iran is not a place we should be doing business with. To me, you terminate the deal on day one. You reinstate the sanctions authorized by Congress. You go to Congress and put in place even more crippling sanctions in place. And then you convince our allies to do the same. This is not just bad with Iran. This is bad with ISIS. It is tied together. And once and for all, we need a leader who's going to stand up and do something about it. It's yet another example of the failed foreign policy of the Obama-Clinton doctrine.
Let's say I agree with you, Scott. Let's just say that. You're not my guy.
I mean, that would assume that I just listened to what he said.
True. I kind of zoned out about halfway through.
I actually did the exact
a little
same
bit.
thing.
You know, it happens, and that should tell you something about Scott Walker. I just don't think they need to start boarding up the campaign doors pretty soon on that front. Money needs to not be circulating to Scott Walker for a presidential campaign. It needs to be going to other avenues. There are more.
It's just not exciting.
No, I mean,
I think there's an argument to be made with regards to his ability to fight with the legislature.
Of course. Yes, he's done that.
Yeah.
He does it. That's part of why the right wing has liked him so much in many respects.
This is a popularity contest, though.
It kind of is.
It really is.
And he really did himself. I like grant and respect the principled nature of why he said this. But his position on abortion, that's rough nationally.
Absolutely. I mean that's on every Hillary ad that you could ever find, that women who are raped cannot get an abortion.
Right. And not only, I don't even think that was the clincher. Yeah. It was the life of the mother.
The life of the mother.
He went that far. Rape and incest. There are people who okay,
there's
like I understand
2 steps to that.
There's 2 steps. The biggest step and the hardest step to overcome for somebody who is 100% pro-life in that sense is the life of the mother one.
And now a bit of foreshadowing to Rubio, who was faced with the exact same question, did not commit. He didn't commit either way.
Right.
He said, I didn't say that.
Right.
But he didn't say, absolutely, yes, I believe that.
A smarter politician. Because that by itself right there makes him, at this political climate that we're in right now, I think nationally almost unelectable.
Unviable.
Yeah, it's, oh, geez.
Oh, I didn't mean that.
Horrible pun.
My apologies for that.
Horrible pun.
Seriously, I'm thinking politics here.
All right, anyway, who's next besides Walker?
Jeb Bush, he was asked a question about the Iraq War, which is, of course, he's got a lot of baggage. I mean, he's got 2 presidents worth of baggage and all of Florida worth of baggage. So...
But he's got a lot of money. That's another sort of baggage.
He's got bags of money, $100 million dispersed throughout his super PAC and his campaign.
If you put that into Rand Paul's campaign, there'd be so many drawings of him saying it would be like just huge sketches, stick figure sketches all over the place.
So here's a clip of Bush.
Knowing what we know now, with faulty intelligence and not having security be the first priority when we invaded, it was a mistake. I wouldn't have gone in. However, for the people that did lose their lives and the families that suffered because of it, I know this full well, because as governor of the state of Florida, I called every one of them that I could find, to tell them that I was praying for them, that I cared about them, and it was very hard to do. And every one of them said that their child did not die in vain.
Well, there it is. Bush catching up with Bush. Think that's going to be potentially a repeat problem for him.
You know, he's got so much baggage. I mean, Bush 1, Bush 2. I mean, his Florida governorship. I mean, the only thing he had going for him...
puts in a positive, very positive light. People say, well, it's because of what was happening with the economy at the time and blah, blah, blah.
The only thing that I can take from it is that's very conservative is his school vouchers program.
Right.
I mean, really, that was his best part of the debate was just talking about school vouchers.
Right. Yeah, it's a question of, does the other form of baggage, as in $100 million, does that baggage outweigh the other baggage?
Can he just outlast? He just has to outlast everyone.
Yeah. Can he outlast beautiful doors by Trump? Circumventing military expertise by Cruz. If he can navigate the path and just kind of right the ship, steady the storm, whatever the right idiom is, he may have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, after in the poll from post-debate polling, he lost 3 points. Same with Scott Walker. They both fell to 7 from 10%.
You could feel that watching the debate. Yeah. You could feel a few point drop from him. But for the most part, he was just blah.
Yeah, just lame.
Yeah, just pretty lame. Who was next?
So now we're going to move on to, for me, who is not necessarily a Republican primary voter, not necessarily. One of the bright spots of the debate, which is John Kasich, the Ohio governor, extremely popular Ohio governor. He had home field advantage,
definitely,
in Cleveland, where he's a popular governor in the state. So, and that showed with the crowd.
Ohio being, I believe, a blue state, correct? For the most part, I mean, it's blue.
Swing. It's been blue for Obama's presidency,
right? For Obama's presidency,
and Sherrod Brown, who is a very liberal senator, is also So yes, it's swing, but it is blue. Republicans kind of have to win it. That kind of gives you an idea of what it is.
He did.
He did.
He has.
He did. Now you can make the argument that it was not in presidential years, and it wasn't the same electorate. But out of the Republicans, out of the kind of more establishment Republicans, he probably has the best chance of winning Ohio because he's the governor of Ohio.
Sure, and a liked governor of Ohio.
Right. And so he was asked a question about same-sex marriage by Megyn Kelly, in which a lot of people are praising his answer.
It was a personal question.
It was very personal.
Well, look, I'm an old-fashioned person here, and I happen to believe in traditional marriage. But I've also said the court has ruled.
But how would you explain your child?
Megyn, the court has ruled, and I said we'll accept it. And guess what? I just went to a wedding of a friend of mine who happens to be gay. Because somebody doesn't think the way I do, doesn't mean that I can't care about them or I can't love them. So if one of my daughters happened to be that, of course I would love them and I would accept them, because you know what? That's what we're taught when we have strong faith. So issues like that are planted to divide us.
I think the simple fact of the matter is, and this is where I would agree with Jeb, and I've been saying it all along, we need to give everybody a chance, treat everybody with respect, and let them share in this great American dream that we have, Megan. So, look, I'm going to love my daughters. I'm going to love them no matter what they do, because you know what? God gives me unconditional love. I'm going to give it to my family and my friends and the people around me.
Ohio was loving it.
They were.
I mean, there was some substantial applause throughout most of what he was saying there.
Get him a jersey. He's replacing LeBron.
For reals. I think that guy could dunk.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, no, probably not. But he did, rhetorically, he navigated a minefield of potential things that could have got him in trouble with potential left voters.
It was pretty masterful, actually.
It was pretty masterful.
He grounded it in his belief that the conservatives that he was for traditional marriage.
Right.
And then he went kind of through this river of logic towards...
but the court ruled, and we accept the court's ruling in this case, so we're going to move forward with it. And then he shifted into, being that is the case, how do you treat people?
And then he cited faith,
right?
Which was, I mean, as you could see from the applause,
right,
pretty powerful,
right?
And to kind of piggyback on that,
so his beliefs are informing actually both sides of what he's doing,
exactly. And if every single other person on that stage either believed or expressed their opinions on this issue like that. I mean, I don't agree with Kasich, nor do I agree that this issue is necessarily something planted to divide us. But
it's not necessarily planted by.
It's
planted in the sense that, that divides them. Let's just keep bringing it up,
right?
Sort of thing.
But it's one of those things that could really bring people together in general, which is what obviously since the Obama era has not happened.
Right. And his logic was kind of clear when it came to his faith. Look, God gives me unconditional love. I'm not God. He tells me to give unconditional love, and I should do that. So I will.
It's simple.
It was pretty simple.
Yeah.
So well done there. Well done on Kasich's
Good job,
part.
Kasich. I mean, it didn't really help him in the polls. He lost the point from 3% to 2%.
But it was a masterful answer.
But we like
getting
him.
applause on
we
either
like
end. Getting applause on either end.
Yeah.
Traditional marriage. Yay.
Every liberal's favorite Republican.
Yay. It got the two-ended
there
applause.
You go.
Who's next?
So, the winner, the unanimous winner from most people that are worth a
present
damn,
party included.
Yes. Marco Rubio, our senator, who, I mean, it's not like I necessarily like him, but man, is that a good politician.
He is what's, I would say, is a vastly improved politician. I mean, he has gone, he is, the way that he communicated, which you're going to hear in a second, is night and day from something we were exposed to a mere couple years ago.
Yeah.
When it was like, okay, try a little Marco Rubio on World.
He hydrated before this one.
What do you think? So let's listen to him here as he fields a question and how he responds. It's pretty well done.
Yeah.
When Jeb Bush announced his candidacy for presidency, he said this: "There's no passing off responsibility when you're a governor, no blending into the legislative crowd." Could you please address Governor Bush across the stage here and explain to him why you, someone who has never held executive office, are better prepared to be president than he is, a man who you say did a great job running your state of Florida for 8 years?
Well, thank you for the question, Chris, and it's great to be here tonight. Let me begin by saying this. I'm not new to the political process. I was making a contribution as the Speaker of the third largest and most diverse state in the country well before I even got into the Senate. I would add to that this election cannot be a resume competition. It's important to be qualified, but if this election is a resume competition, then Hillary Clinton's going to be the next president because she's been in office and in government longer than anybody else running here tonight. Here's what this election better be about. This election better be about the future, not the past. It better be about the issues our nation and the world is facing today, not simply the issues we once faced. This country is facing an economy that has been radically transformed. You know, the largest retailer in the country, in the world today, Amazon, doesn't even own a single store, and these changes have been disruptive. They have changed people's lives. The jobs that once sustained our middle class, they either don't pay enough or they are gone, and we need someone that understands that as our nominee. If I'm our nominee, how is Hillary Clinton going to lecture me about living paycheck to paycheck? I was raised paycheck to paycheck. How is she going to lecture me? How is she going to lecture me about student loans? I owed over $100,000 just 4 years ago. If I'm our nominee, we will be the party of the future.
It was at that point Rubio reached to his left, out of camera, grabbed a bottle of water, took a sip. No, he didn't actually do that. The man, it flowed naturally.
It was a great answer.
The rhetoric was strong. It made sense.
Yeah.
It made you go yeah, that's what we need. Yeah. You were like, go get him, Rubio.
I love your Republican voter voice.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that of an 8-year-old.
Yes, I didn't mean it in that sense. It was.
He did.
Yeah,
he did. Believe me.
No, I didn't mean it in that sense. But yeah, no, he really impressed me and every answer that he gave. Whether I fully agreed with everything he was getting at or not, and like you said, the potential factual mistake that he made with the Amazon comment. Because apparently Amazon isn't.
It's not the largest retailer in the world.
But it's
one of the largest retailers.
I'll take that mistake over the water bottle mistake every day if I'm Marco Rubio.
Day. Yeah.
I can always be like, oh, whoops, my bad.
Yeah.
Like that one. It's just not good. It's not a good thing. So he is on the up and up, and as far as I'm concerned. And what did the polls say about him?
So our up and up means he didn't lose points. But considering
I'm such a poor analyst.
That every single establishment candidate lost points.
Okay.
From Walker, Bush, Christie, Paul, if you want to just moderate, whatever you want to call them.
almost classify that as an up.
Yeah. Kasich, everybody lost points. Rubio didn't.
Right.
So that's a win. That's a win because if they keep falling,
he did lose to Cruz.
He's going to collect. Everybody lost to Cruz.
Him. So out of the poll numbers,
yeah,
was it Trump and Rubio that basically kind of stayed right where they were?
Yeah, Trump. So who stayed right where they were? So you might not know some of these people.
Right.
So Rick Perry stayed a firm 2%.
Firm.
Yeah. George Pataki doesn't matter.
He is the man of steel, right? Rick Perry.
Rick Perry. Yeah. Bobby Jindal stayed at 1%. Rubio 8%. Lindsey Graham, stayed at 1%. Mike Huckabee gained 1%. Doesn't matter. Don't worry about Huckabee.
Yeah,
and then Trump gained 1%. Everybody else was big winners.
Huckabee's is I'm convinced a statistical error.
Right?
It's just a mistake.
Yeah.
They wrote that down. The guy was typing in the blog post and he was like, "Whoops, my bad." Maybe not. Maybe it's legitimate. But
when we do statistical regressions, they don't call them margins of errors anymore. They call them Huckabees.
Yeah, exactly. We got some Huckabees in there.
Yeah.
Particularly with Huckabee.
Now it's time for a segment we like to call the end of the rope. So Justin, I know you got one special plan for us.
This is special and highly relevant. So I think it was the day before the debate. I checked my Twitter feed like I do every day, and I got a notification that enticed me to click onto this link. So I did, and it pulled up YouTube, and it started a video. And this video changed my day. It didn't change my life, but it changed my day, and it made it better. So here's the premise of the video. I'm going to play a clip for you real quick of the sound of this video.
Few things I enjoy more than on weekends cooking breakfast with the family. Of course, in Texas, we cook bacon a little differently than most folks. There's grease coming down. All right, let's see if we've got some bacon. All right. Machine gun bacon.
So there it is. Cruz cooks bacon on the barrel of his gun. And he basically looks at Max Seijo and says, "Screw you, buddy.
Yeah.
Second Amendment rules, and I will cook bacon on it. All you vegetarians, just get out of my way." It doesn't matter who you are. I'm Second Amendment. I'm pro Second Amendment. And you know what? 8 points in the polls.
Actually, seven.
Seven
points. Come on. Seriously.
7 points in the polls.
We pride ourselves on our accuracy.
This video actually, too, if you go search it on YouTube, just search Machine Gun Bacon, Ted Cruz, you will be fine. And you will start to hear that very quickly. That, I believe, at the time of when I watched it, there were double or triple the amount of dislikes than there were likes.
That's politics for you.
Yeah. But that's my end of the rope, and I think that's my best one so far. What's yours?
So, just a slight change in tone in everything you could ever imagine. There's a book. You might have heard of it. It's by a fellow named Ta-Nehisi Coates called Between the World and Me. Number one on the New York Times bestsellers list. Yeah. And it's kind of a memoir-ish amalgamation of thoughts written by Ta-Nehisi as a letter to his son.
Mm-hmm.
Now, no matter what you think about the issues of civil rights, or you're probably for civil rights, just probably, but the issue of Black Lives Matter, of police reform, this book illustrates, and I mean illustrates in a kind of a pictorial sense, the visceral experience that is, or was, I should say, in Ta-Nehisi's experience, because he also makes the clarification that it's definitely different now, but there are broad themes of his journey from and how it is to be black in America. And as a white guy, this is not something, you wouldn't have thought, right?
I'm looking at it.
Yeah. This is not something that you just come across from time. It's hard, especially in a society that is based off of segregation as far as land rules and redlining. You don't live with the same with different kinds of people as much as you should.
Mm-hmm.
It's illuminating in a lot of ways. I don't necessarily agree with all of it. I agree with most of the policy prescriptions that he outlines in that. Some of the assertions he makes in totality are hard to grasp. I'm not sure that he's wrong, but it's hard to grasp.
And is he meaning to say them in that sort of absolutized sense,
or
is he just
he might be
narrating?
just being rhetorical in that sense.
Yeah.
And it kind of illustrates his journey. So whatever you think, you have to read this book because it's kind of a social science masterpiece. And it will be a book that people talk about for a long time.
I think that's what it says on the back of it. You just ripped that off.
I didn't read that off. I swear to God. I'm not.
No, you didn't read it off. You ripped it off.
Yeah, I did. I ripped off Toni Morrison, by the way, acclaimed scholar who wrote the back cover.
No, I'm on to you.
I didn't mention Baldwin, who she mentioned. Okay.
Plagiarist.
I might. That's our show. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube. If you'd like to help us out, please rate and subscribe to our podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at Max Sejo. You can follow Justin at Justin Bailey. For links to today's topics, check the show notes. You can also find us at medium.com/@Inquiri.us blog. He's Justin Bailey. I'm Maximilian Sejo. Keep inquiring.